Hello there.
Hello there. Guys, Josh Lloyd here, NBA What to Watch for Thursday. Of course, the main thing we're watching for is which bloody players are going to get traded, but at this point, I don't know that. So we're going to have, Thursday's trade deadline day is always wild because you're going to have guys that get traded not available to play. Friday is also like that, so tons of weird stuff happens in those rotations. But let's highlight what we're watching for at the moment. First game, Wizards and Knicks. What does the roulette wheel Scott Brooks do? Started Alex Len, but then played the most minutes to Mo Wagner, who played well. Does Wagner go back and start? Do they go with three centers again? Does Len start and Wagner sits on the bench rotting away? Like, who knows? But I want to watch it. I want to see exactly what goes down. I don't expect the Wizards to be making any deals, but who knows what's going to happen there? Maybe Troy Brown moves. Maybe Wagner moves. Who knows? Again, I've said who knows a lot of times. Wagner is a guy to watch that. And same as Denny Avdia, who I think has been horribly misused. What a shock that is in just the litany of players that Scott Brooks has misused. Just remember, we know Tom Bryant went down with an ACL this year. You know how he was misused last year by Scott Brooks? Like, he just wouldn't play him 30 minutes. He'd play like 25, 26 minutes, and it takes that time. Troy Brown, again, out of the rotation. Just nonsense bullshit from a nonsense bullshit coach. So Avdia, not that I think he's particularly good, because he isn't, but I'd like to see him do a little bit more out there and play a little bit more. That'd be great. For the Knicks, we had an absolutely huge second game back from Mitchie Robinson.
And Mitch Robinson says, I'll take it from here.
Yeah, he did. He absolutely took it from here and put up a really big performance. Will they start him in this one, the Knicks, over Nerlens Noel? Will he get those 30 minutes? That's a big question. Well, Alec Burks has been putting up good numbers. Now, Lord Alfred Payton has returned. Derek Rose is not on the injury report, but we don't know if he's going to go as he gets his conditioning back. So how does Burks fit in with Payton quickly? Rose, Bullock in that mix as well. There is lots of questions because Burks is playing well, but if he can't guarantee himself 26 a night, it's really tough to see him as a must-roster player. Next up, we look at the Blazers and the Heat. Bob Covington playing really well. He was on my Sell High show earlier today. What is he able to do? Is he able to continue that level of play? How successful is he when he's center versus a power forward? And then you've got Christian James McCollum, who has been pretty rusty since returning from his foot injury. No surprise there. Again, he's not going, I've said this a million times, I'll say it again, he's not going to be, I don't think, the same guy that he was before the foot injury, and that's not foot injury related. He was always going to regress from there, but we're seeing it swing way too far in the other direction. Well, for the Heat, Kelly Olynyk, really, really poor performance last game with some bad shooting. The Heat could be really active at this trade deadline, meaning this is maybe the last game that you see Olynyk play starters minutes or even start games, so let's watch that. While Kendrick Nunn, massive performance from him in the last game, no Goran Dragic, but even so, in games without Dragic, he hasn't necessarily been that big in most of them. So he is a guy to watch to see exactly how Eric Spoelstra does deploy him. Next one is the Clippers and the Spurs. This is a back-to-back. These guys are playing at the moment on Wednesday, and at the time of me recording this, the Clippers are like 14 points up at halftime. How Terrence Mann fits into this rotation, along with Luke Kennard, along with Lou Williams, is very, very intriguing. And then Marcus Morris Sr., who went bananas in that first half against the Spurs. Yes, cementing himself as a starter, not cementing himself as a 12-team league player, but let's see if he can work his way into that discussion. Well, for the Spurs, I always want to watch Jakob Poeltl, one of the best defensive players in the entire NBA, but consistency from him has been lacking from fantasy production. And DeMar DeRozan, I just haven't had him on the what to watch for a while. What is his role looking like? How much is he handling it and initiating it versus DeJounte Murray and versus Derek White? Let's go on to the next one. Warriors and Kings. Of course, the number one thing we want to watch is Blunty. James Wiseman. Where are you now? He's going to start. What do those minutes mean? Is it 30 minutes? Is it 26 minutes? How is his efficiency looking? Is he a useful fantasy player? I am not convinced that he is, and I wouldn't burn a waiver wire ad on him in advance of the trade deadline. And Jordan Poole is a guy that you should have added 3-4 days ago, but he's going to get another big opportunity. I've really liked what he's seen, and it feels like, and this is not what's happening, and Steve Kerr, he'll never listen to this, he'll never hear this, but maybe if he does, and then he brings it up in a press conference and tells me how wrong I am, but it just feels like he is begging for someone to take Kelly Oubre. It's like, oh, Kelly understands. He plays a position of need. Teams around the league, they're inquiring. He understands that. And then it's like, yeah, we'd love to have Kelly back next year. He'll be coming off the bench, though, so role's going to be smaller. It's like they're saying, Kelly, we want you to go and you don't want to come back here. Maybe I'm completely wrong, and Steve Kerr's being honest, which he 100% is. Like, he is being honest, but you don't normally put those things out there unless you're trying to grease the wheels a little bit, I would think. But again, could be wrong. And I bring that up just to say that could Jordan Poole take some Kelly Oubre minutes if Oubre is in fact moved in a deal? Interesting stuff. For the Kings, they're playing today. Now, that's Wednesday, and they're playing, of course, on Thursday. So Bud Hield, who's been wildly up and down with his shooting percentages. And I want to see if they use Fiondu Kabengele at all. Fiondu is a guy that put up really good G League numbers, shot blocking, three-point shooting, good rebounding type center player. Of course, there's Hassan Whiteside and Rashawn Holmes there, but will there be by the time this game tips off? We don't know. So Kabengele, how they use him and how much he plays and how good he looks is of interest to me. Next up, Sixers-Lakers. Danny Green is on the injury report with a hip problem, so we want to see whether he plays, but he has been putting up, in general, some pretty good defensive stats and 12-team worthy, while Tone Bradley went bananas against the Warriors last game. He's been starting this whole time without Joel Embiid. Hasn't had big games like that most of the time. But it's there. We talked about him on the Permanent Monster Show last week. Like, it's there. That ability is there. It just doesn't get realized enough. So can you do it again against a Lakers team that's going to be missing Anthony Davis and might be starting Devontae Kachuk again? I don't know. For the Lakers, Horton Tucker, very disappointing role in the rotation last game after a really good role in the first game. So where does he slide? This will give us more of an idea of whether he's a drop or whether he's an add or where we go from there. And then Markieff Morris, who continues to start at power forward. They should just start Horton Tucker and Kuzma. I don't know why they're bothering with Markieff Morris, but they are. And maybe he's a fringe 12 to 14 team league guy after the trade deadline. Look at some stream options. Again, this could change wildly depending on what happens at the deadline, which maybe we'll cover a little bit in the pregame show tomorrow. Derek Jones Jr., Marcus Morris Sr., Patty Mills, Reggie Bullock, and Tony Bradley for category leagues, I think can be pretty solid stream options. While for points leagues, we're looking at Ivica Zubats, Dwight Howard, Talen Horton Tucker, Kelly Olynyk, and Alec Burks. And the difference there is your points league is obviously different scoring, but I'm also using the basic Yahoo 50% rostered metric to tell you these guys are rostered in under 50% of the basic metric on Yahoo, which, again, most points leagues tend to be beginner-type leagues, so that tends to correlate, while as my other numbers that I use for the category league streamers, that's based on our advanced metric of cash games and category league 12-team leagues as to where those guys are rostered. So they're more widely available in the more for more experienced leagues and more experienced fantasy basketball players. Guys, that'll do it for today's show. Absolutely pumped. Remember, trade deadline show, 2 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. That's 5 a.m. Friday morning, Australian time. Be ready. Get everybody that you know into that show. I want it to break all records for my live stream show. I want super chats. I want massive amounts of people. If I could have 10,000 people in there, it'd be awesome. I don't think I will, but I would love to get a huge amount. And I've got this. There's a lot of subscribers here, so if you are watching this, if you are around, get in for that trade deadline show tomorrow. It's going to be exciting, guys. We are done here. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. See ya.